Okay, so hopefully y'all can see and hear me pretty well, but I'm currently about 40 miles out from my local Tesla showroom. You all know I'm from Kentucky and there's dealership laws, so I'm headed up to Blue Ash right now, which if you own a Tesla in Kentucky, there's like a 90% chance this is where you took delivery. But I am headed there to finally get my hands on, drive, and experience the new, upgraded, refreshed Highland, whatever you want to call it, Model 3. I've seen some people getting upset that people are calling it Highland. It doesn't bother me at all what you all call it. I'm going to understand what you're talking about. I don't really care. I wanted to record my reactions and kind of just initial impressions, thoughts as I do the drive as a actual current Model 3 owner that dailies the car, right? I've seen some people do these videos that they own Model Ys or they drove a Model 3 like 4 years ago. Or they just don't even drive a Y or a 3 and they're like an S or an X owner and they're making like these, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but you know, I've seen some people that point out things that they think are different when in reality that was added in like, you know, 2021 or 2022 or 2023. Now, I did recently put up a video going over the performance Model 3, which is what I'm personally interested in. So if you watch that video, then you know that I do not have an order in for one of these cars. And even though I don't have an order in, I'm still hoping that they have long ranges with white interiors just to kind of get as close to what I would order as possible. And then finally, at the end of the video, I'm going to be answering questions. I asked over on the community wall, I was like, hey, you know, is there anything that, you know, someone else hasn't already answered that you would like answered? So we're going to be answering those questions at the end of the video once I've done the drive and everything. Captain's log, 3 miles out. Okay, here we go. I don't see any of them yet. I doubt deliveries have started here, like more East Coast wise. I am, oh, yep, there it is right there. That gentleman's driving one. Oh, yeah. Man, there's no one taking delivery today, huh? There's like literally no one in the, for the pickup lane. Oh, and I see a red one. Ooh. I haven't seen any with white interior. I really want to see the white interior, but I doubt I'll be able to. Oh. So there it is right there. The other one I saw was a black one. I don't know if I'm a fan of this red. It's like a dark red. Maybe it's because I'm viewing it through Tint. Hang on. Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right. And we are in the car, and it already feels weird. The screen feels like it's away from me, but we're going to go ahead, and it's just telling me to press the brake. Choose a direction. Okay. And then now we're just going to press the drive. I'm actually going to scoot this up a little bit. Adjust that. Okay. So I am in a base or a standard range. I don't actually think they're called standard ranges anymore, but that's what they were calling it. They were calling it a standard range. You know, I think this is actually my first time ever driving a base. I think this is the only Model 3 I haven't driven. I've driven all the Model Ys and the S's and X's. I don't think I've ever driven a base 3 though. Apparently, according to the very hopeful employee that I was talking to, they have these booked out all day. Every 30 minutes, people are in there test driving them. Let me get my seat a little bit lower. Like, these are so new that they don't have like full self-driving set up on them. They don't have any of the accounts connected. Like, as soon as they were available, people just started booking them up. So the screen is smaller, which is something that I did know just because, you know, Test Stuff is designing screen protectors. And the screen, like the actual physical screen is smaller, so none of the screen protectors work. Like, if you try to put an old screen protector on it, you'll have about that much overhang. But the screen looks really good. I got the cooling seats on. I'm actually gonna turn that off just because it's a little bit too cold. I had it on full blast. It wasn't really that, I mean, I could hear it going, but it was the same as whenever I've driven S's or X's, you can hear the fan going, but it's not like obnoxiously loud. Speaking of obnoxiously loud, I'm trying to get a gauge on the cabin noise. I mean, maybe something's open. It sounds about the same. Just first impressions, it sounds about the same. I don't know, maybe, I'm pretty sure that both the base and the long range all have the double pane glasses. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it might just be the long range. They did have a long range there in ultra red. You were not able to drive it. I don't know why. Oh, wow, I really had to get in on the brake there. But yeah, wind noise, road noise, sounds about the same as my current one. The wheel feels the same in terms of like, girthiness. I haven't accidentally retched for a stock yet. Like I said, I have driven S's and X's, so there is a small part of my brain that just knows not to reach for a stock, so maybe that's engaged right now. I'm kind of just taking it in. The ambient lighting has turned off. I'm not sure what that is about. Let me see if I can't get that back on. Okay, so it's auto. There's an auto setting that, well, I guess will auto turn off during the day. Now y'all should be able to see it. It's red. If we set it to green, maybe a little blue, maybe a little yellow. I'm gonna go with blue. Oh yeah, this is definitely a bass. I'm familiar with my car, and I know how much I need to put my foot down to get the car going how I want, if that makes sense, right? Let me make sure this isn't about to fall. And right there, I put my foot down enough that would have got my car to move me a little bit, and this just did not. Claim 0 to 60 is a 5.8 seconds, and this is an LFP. I mean, it feels good in terms of just driving. The wheel does feel a little different because on the current wheel, where the scroll wheels are, it's convexed, or this kind of concave, so for your thumbs to flow into it, and I guess to rest easier, because this definitely does feel a lot more comfortable in terms of my thumbs like sitting. And the buttons on the wheel are physical buttons. They're not haptics. And the horn is, now that I noticed. That I definitely noticed. Either that horn is quieter or the sound getting into the cabin is not nearly as much, because that sounded a lot quieter than what I'm used to. Yeah, that's definitely a lot quieter. Those people were looking at me because I was just honking my horn driving up the hill. And let's see if I reach for a stock, because we're backing in. All right, so when you slow down, I don't even got to put my foot on the brake. Just slowing down just immediately brings it up. Right there. Slide back up. Okay, so this is my first time also experiencing high fidelity park assist, because I have an ultrasonic sensor car, so mine doesn't have it yet. It definitely goes off a little bit before my car would, so I keep forgetting that I have this. So here it is. Like I said, this is the base. Let me just really kind of get a look at the front here. This is, like I said, my first time seeing it in person. And, at first, I wasn't a big fan of the front, but the more I've seen it, and now seeing it in person, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the front. I like the headlights. This scoop right here is also a little bit different. It's less fish looking. The side profile is pretty much unchanged. This extends into the door, and then coming around to the back, which is honestly my favorite part about the refresh, is that back. The back just looks so much better. The diffuser on the bottom is a little bit bigger. The taillights are just, they look great. It looks like this one also has a little bit of a charge port, sticks out a little bit. But I love these taillights and the logo. Definitely gonna have to black the logo out, but that trunk sounds a little quieter. Looking in, I do believe that it is slightly bigger, but you have here on the sides now 2 side cubbies. Just like the Y, still got trunk storage. And it looks like here, yeah, so these right here on the long range and the 3, or the long range and presumably the performance, you actually have 2 subs now instead of 1. But here on the base, they're just hollowed out. It also looks like that the lights have been slightly altered, as in the current one, they're in a little bit of a different position. Also looks like that little screw hole that people buy the grocery hooks for has been removed. So that's the trunk. This right here is now lined with like a felt-like material. On the current one, it's a hard plastic. Let me go ahead and, that even sounds different. And there's the tail lights going with it. Let me open up the front here real quick. Oh. So if we open up the front, feels the same, looks pretty much identical, except this is on the bottom now instead of at the top. I'm not gonna start ripping it off or anything. This feels a little bit wider, but I doubt it. Oh, this has been moved up. The your tow hook is normally here. It's been moved up here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the current one, this is more rounded, and here it's more straight. Looking at the cameras, so these are hardware 4. And you can really tell because just the lens just is bigger. So now let's quickly look at the back seat. Back seat, I asked, they don't have any white interiors. These are a little bit different. The current one is kind of just a vegan leather pocket, where this is plastic and you pull it and it has little straps. Sides are now lined with a felt-like material. Hopping in. Oh, yeah, no. That, hang on. Oh, that sounds so much better. I mean, that is a thunk. Hang on, let me put my mic down too if y'all can really hear it. Oh, yeah. No, that sounds good. Back seat, this is the driving position for 6'1". Still got some decent room. And I'll flip around here and show my headroom in a second. Screen, bezels are looking real nice and small too. Not the big chunky ones that were on the original refreshed S and X. You can change all this. You can also control your heating from the back. It looks like you can move this up and down. I wonder if it detects someone in the seat, if it won't let you do it. The ambient lighting looks good. It extends all the way to the back here. It looks like these lights are not actual buttons anymore. No, they're haptics. Well, they're not haptics. You kind of just touch them. You don't get any like feedback. It looks like that there's also a speaker up here, which I don't know if this is actually a speaker here in the base, because the base has less speakers. That was one of the questions I was asked to look at the speakers. I mean, I can't like open these up and see if there's actually a speaker in them, or if they're just gutted, but the back definitely is gutted in terms of the subs. Headliner is still, you know, you all know my stance on the headliner, how it would look so much better being darker, and that's why I think that you have to get lighter colored seats in the 3 and the Y, because it just matches the headliner better. We still got our hooks, of course, and it looks like these buttons up here, same thing. They're not actual buttons. There is no haptic feedback. Not even this is an actual button. You also have your Prindle up there, so let's go ahead. I think we've covered everything in the back. Let's hop in the front. We have this down here, which is for, I believe, increased like side collision impact, safety, whatever. You can see right here. Same thing, lined in the front. The Model 3 is not centered though, and that's kind of driving me a little crazy. Getting in, same thing. Nice big thunk. Dash is of course different, ambient lighting. You got your Prindle up here, which I don't know if you all can see because... Okay, there we go. So yeah, it's yelling at me to choose a touchscreen to drive, but you can press these. So if I... Right there into drive, and then... There we go, park. Oh look, the icon is updated to reflect the new headlights. They also apparently do have better Bluetooth for increased connectivity. We have these are a little bit different. I can't remember if this was more like an Alcantara feel. Alcantara, however you want to say it. This feels good. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of these on the S's and the X's. The center, because it's multiple moving parts, like this does feel better than every single S and X I've driven. These are just really shaky, but this still just does not feel as solid as having the one door. It feels shakier than the current 3. Has someone drew a smiley face on there? The cup holders are now lined with a rubber, which is nice, and they have little grips on them, so that's huge. Okay, and they press in to allow for bigger drinks. The side, so because this is the base and black interior, this is like the really cheap suede-like. I did see the long range, and it was more of an Alcantara-like. Yeah, it kind of feels like if you felt the fine woven cases from Apple that came out this year, they got a lot of hate. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's not scratching with just your fingernail, so it's already a little bit better quality than that. But, I mean, I don't hate it, but the Alcantara, it felt a lot better. Besides that, I mean, that's the interior. This is all the same. This is still magnetic, just like mine. Rear view looks the same. The seats, to be honest, they feel the same. They feel the same. And maybe it's because they need to be broken in a little bit more and they get softer over time. I mean, it has 713 miles on it. You would expect them to be broken in. You can look through here, look at additional vehicle information. Full self-driving computer. Okay, so it actually tells you audio system base. I believe the other one will say premium. Someone mentioned 5G. This is not 5G. Rear permanent magnet. Still has the AMD Ryzen. That was something that I saw someone say, like, oh, the screen feels faster. And it's like, you just haven't driven a Model 3 from like late 2021 and onward, because this feels exactly the same. I'm trying to think of anything else that I should look at in here. I'm just going to go down the settings in case there's anything that you all would like to look at. You can pause and kind of look. Here's the ambient lighting. You can see it changing in real time. You can save colors. Display. Okay, so you have a lock rear display. Okay. Scroll wheel function, same as before. Trips. Wow, a lifetime average of 239. That's actually not really that good, if I'm being honest, especially for a rear wheel. I think my lifetime average is like a 260. All this. I said I would show headroom, so here's headroom, and it's essentially the same exact in the back. This is me in the driver's seat in my driving position. The button over here on the side feels actually a lot better just because it's a lot bigger, so you don't have to be as precise. Okay, so headed back, 2.9 miles. Hopefully we're not too late. Okay, we're gonna be like 212. I'll just, say I got a little caught up. Feels good. Press the drive, and we are off. It feels like a Model 3, and I know this is gonna sound super like what everyone else is saying, just more refined. It feels more refined. So if we just kind of, it actually feels like it gets faster once you get up past 30. Down low is, I don't mean worse, but worse than my performance on chill mode. Up, okay, I did it. My finger started moving toward where the indicator would be. So I did do it. Yeah, this screen, I think a lot of people think I'm just talking out of my ass just because, you know, Test Stuff sells them and I'm just trying to promote. No, I'm not joking. Like, a rotating screen mount changes the game. Like, it just changes how the car feels. It feels like that this screen is not even looking at me, or it's not even facing me. But it feels like a Model 3. And I don't know if that horn actually is just quieter, or if I'm just, I don't know. Bumps feel the same. I mean, yes, I'm in a performance, but I am on 18 inches with Cross Climate 2 tires. So no foam in them or anything. And it feels about the same. Got the button. Yeah, I definitely feel like that these buttons are a lot better than the haptic ones. I'm gonna start moving a little bit. Gonna pull my cameras up. Cameras look good. Cameras look very, very good. That is something like immediately that you're gonna notice. Cameras look good. Frame rate seems a little bit better. I do know that all the cameras on like every Tesla got an upgrade because they changed how the processing worked. So everything looks, for across all cars, looks better. But these, I mean, just look clearer. These cameras are great. You know, I see people that were in S's and X's and Y's with hardware 4. They're like, hey, cameras look a lot better. I can definitely agree. Cameras look a lot better. Going under that dark bridge and seeing the ambient light get a little bit more noticeable there for a few seconds. Yeah, regen is definitely not as strong, but I think that's a LFP thing. That's not really a Highland thing, or an upgraded thing, sorry. Got those turn signals first go. Not even really having to look. I think that the amount of effort needed for the steering wheel is because I'm actually driving on comfort, I believe. I don't think I've ever driven my car on anything except sport. All right, hopefully they don't get in here and like yell at me that I was 5 minutes late. Oh yeah, perfect parking. Perfect parking. I pride myself on my reverse parking. There we go. Okay, so back in Old Reliable, and I've had time to collect my thoughts. First, more refined. What I meant by this was that the inside fit and finish was just a lot tighter. If you go back and look, you'll notice that the headliner, for example, was really tight. Mine here on my Performance drops down a little bit. The front isn't so bad. It's a lot better than what it was on my long range. But my rear, I'll have some extra footage here. My rear is a lot worse. But on the new one, very, very tight. The weather sill, while not perfect, looked a lot better compared to mine. Also, I didn't hear any rattles, which I didn't realize until I was back in my car. And my car doesn't rattle all the time. It's mainly when it gets a little bit colder out, just random parts will just start making noise. And I did not hear that in the new 3. I mean, it just, no rattles whatsoever. So that's what I meant when I said more refined. Speaking of back in my car, the wind and road noise, it sounded the same to me. Now, I assume this is because I am coming from a Model 3 that already has double paned on the front. And if you are not, or the last time that you rode in a Model 3 was before that, which I believe was 2021, then you're going to notice a much bigger difference than what I did. I do, however, bet had I had any rear passengers, they could have probably been able to tell the difference if they had just ridden in the back of mine that doesn't have double paned and the new Model 3, which does have double paned in the rear. Now, I did mention that bumps felt the same. And now that I'm back in my car, I can say that I can tell a difference. Now, is that because of the more claimed comfier suspension or the wheels? The wheels were the 18-inch new Aero wheels, and they were on Hankook All Seasons, which has the foam in them. That the difference would have been much bigger. But then again, that's not really a fair comparison. A fair comparison would have been coming from the original 18-inch aero wheels to the new ones. It's no Model S or X with air suspension, but it did feel ever so slightly better in terms of feeling bumps in the road. Now, for the sound system, I did listen to it, but of course video wouldn't do it justice, plus copyright, so I can't really show you. And it didn't sound bad, but my current Model 3 blows it out of the water. However, I was in a base, which has less speakers, no subs, and was to be expected. A better comparison would have been the long range, and from what I've seen, people have said that that is a step up over the legacy Model 3. I personally thought it was hilarious that where the subs were supposed to be are still there in the base, they're just hollowed out. I think Tesla should include the hardware and just let you pay to like permanently unlock it, compared to just never having the option at all. All right, so now time to answer those questions. And starting out, we have, is the rear seat room that much worse than your prior model? Also, any signs of 5G in the menus? So as for the rear seat room, no, it pretty much felt the same as what I have now. I showed legroom with a 6-1 seating position, and it was fine. As for the 5G, I also showed the menus and no 5G. Next up, would you recommend white interior over black? I know the white interior in the legacy model made it quite difficult to drive due to glare. Do you know if the new materials generate the same glare? I wasn't able to drive a white interior one, so I can't answer that. Next up, we have, how are you able to afford getting another Tesla? And this isn't really Highland related, but I do get this question quite often, I guess because I am on the younger side. And the answer is this channel. I guess a lot of people think that you need a channel that has millions of subscribers and gets millions of views to make money on YouTube. In reality, you don't. This channel has paid for my current Model 3 multiple times over since buying it not even a year and a half ago. Next question, does or will the long range have the acceleration boost option? I wasn't able to drive a long range, so sadly, I can't answer that, but you may be able to find out from like Europe owners, but don't quote me on that. Next question, old long range or new rear wheel drive at the same price? Old long range, assuming we're talking about not anything further back than like 2022. Next question is, as someone who has driven a Tesla Model 3 for quite a while now, in your opinion, is it actually worth the upgrade? Not even talking about there not being a performance model yet, just in general, do you think based off of your experience, did Tesla do enough to warrant a refresh? Yes and no. Yes, if you own a Model 3 prior to 2021 or 2020. If you own anything newer than that, then no. I wasn't impressed enough to recommend that people in newer Model 3s to upgrade. Patrick asked, how annoying is the gear shifting now? Not annoying at all, in all honesty, right? I mean, I only had to switch gears a few times, but I mean, yes, I was conscious of it, where when I'm driving this, I'm not really conscious of me changing gears, but I assume after, you know, a few days, it's kind of, I can only assume it's like regen. You just get used to it and then it just becomes second nature. Can you play Steam games on it? If so, can you play Steam game? No, you cannot. Next question, just ordered mine and was wondering if you found any floor mats or screen protectors for the new model. Yes, so test stuff, we do have screen protectors and floor mats on the way. Keep an eye out at teststuff.com. We actually just got a big restock if you're like a Model Y or Legacy Model 3. But we will have new Model 3 stuff very, very shortly. Can you confirm the rear wheel drive only has the 9 speakers and no subs? I'm not 100% sure about the speakers, as like I said during the video, I couldn't just, you know, rip them off to check, but I can confirm no subs. And then the final question, any changes to the 16-volt battery? Not as far as I could tell. I mean, I didn't start ripping off panels, but from teardowns we've seen, it is the same. I was told, and this was a very specific thing I was told by one of the salespeople, was that the 16-volt has a lifetime warranty, which I believe they've had lifetime warranties since they switched over to a 16-volt. I could be wrong, but I think that's like one of the things that they're told to say as like a selling point. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. I will be putting in an order for the new Model 3 whenever the performance becomes available. So I will have content here on the channel for the new Model 3 eventually. If you are new around here and you do want to see more Tesla stuff in your YouTube feed, then feel free to subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.